The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Tonight, this is Week in Review Fridays on Beyond the Headlines, where we highlight the stories that got your attention and considerable chatter around the water cooler and elsewhere. Also tonight, you saw the region, in fact, talking about this one, the United States crackdown on the region and its relationship with Cuba. Coming up as well for you this evening, one of the matriarchs in the Free National Movement, Dame Janet Bostwick, who this week said that the FNM isn't giving the Bahamian people anything they can sink their teeth into. We take a look at more of what she had to say. Well, something that put the FNM in further quandary, at least in the eyes of the public, is the lunch meeting between former Prime Ministers Hubert Ingraham and Hubert Minnis. What did they talk about exactly? Well, social media was buzzing with the question heard around the country: what does it mean? Meanwhile, the Nurses Union says the government hiring 35 Ghanaian nurses, while some 26 Bahamian nurses wait to be officially hired, is sending the wrong message. We talk about that as well. And you ask for it tonight. A surprise many of you says that, listen, Shanique, we want more. More of what? Well, remember that video clip that went viral recently from a show right here on Beyond the Headlines? Well, a nice prelude to the weekend. I have a surprise for you. You have to stay tuned to find out what that surprise is, what the video is, and how you're going to get more of that. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. It's an issue that leaders around the Caribbean are pushing back against. The United States' very clear mandate that the Caribbean stop its import of doctors and nurses from Cuba. A former government minister says he's taken aback by what appears to be an ultimatum from the United States on the issue of Cuban medical workers lending a helping hand to the Bahamas' challenged healthcare industry. As far as he's concerned, U.S. officials are seeking to disrupt a harmonious working relationship between two regional nations. While some aren't fazed by the perceived threats, others say it should serve as a wake-up call to make the country's healthcare sector self-reliant. We get the story from Jose Etienne and then we come back.
Former Cabinet Minister Leslie Miller mincing no words as he scolded United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who recently made visa sanction threats against governments that are part of Cuba's overseas medical missions.
As a Bahamian, I take it as an affront that this country called the United States of America could be so bold and presumptuous.
Rubio described the program as forced labor. However, Miller says it's a mischaracterization of a program that has saved the country's healthcare system that's been on life support as a result of local healthcare workers taking on more lucrative jobs in the United States.
The early 60s, they were helping the countries in the Caribbean and as far as Africa to assist in their medical problems. And they did a wonderful job. And now you're saying that you come with this false pretense that is slave labor and cheap labor. Has nothing to do with labor.
Critics might also argue that U.S. officials are being unfair with their threats, given that they continue to deplete the region's healthcare sector with very attractive offers, which skilled professionals typically don't reject. That's why former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands says officials need to come up with a formula that would cause medical workers to stay at home.
When we talk about, well, we're going to go and recruit nurses from here or recruit nurses from there, I don't think that is an ideal solution. The best way that we can manage our affairs, particularly as it relates to healthcare, is to be self-sufficient.
But is self-sufficiency within arm's reach? Sands suggests that it's a possibility, but it begins with addressing these existing issues.
In some instances, it has to do with compensation, but not only. It has to do with the workplace. It has to do with opportunities for advancement. It has to do with a feeling of respect and support.
Now, this isn't just about Cuban nurses and doctors. U.S. officials seem equally concerned about the educators, and Bahamas Teachers Union President Belinda Wilson had this to say.
These Cuban teachers play a vital role as they fill the gap because of the teacher shortage, especially in those disciplines or subject areas where the local expertise is not readily available.
This comes amid concerns that the workforce program is a front for human trafficking, but former Foreign Affairs Minister Darren Henfield contends that the country has proven itself as one that stands against that issue.
Based on the evidence, which can be very easily derived, we can show, I hope we can show that there's no issue with human trafficking in the Bahamas from workers from Cuba. And I wait to see that the government will provide that empirical evidence to support that notion and put this and allay all of these fears and put these threats aside.
This comes as Health Minister Dr. Darwell recently revealed that 35 specialty nurses and several doctors from Ghana will be in country within the next several weeks to address shortage concerns while also preventing active workers from being burnt out. And as late as 2023, 37 Cuban healthcare professionals were recruited to work in the Bahamas' healthcare system. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Well, there you have it, that report. So many regional leaders have really outright this week said, listen, we are willing to stand on principle. We have sovereign nations and we lead sovereign nations. They too need expertise in medical care. We know the U.S. comes and it scouts and it offers wonderful, beautiful packages, not just to Bahamian health professionals, but throughout the region because the work ethic is wonderful. The people are very skilled and qualified and experienced. Therefore, the United States takes them. And by all means, hey, if you find a great opportunity somewhere, yeah, great. However, though, it leaves a void in our healthcare system. And so, therefore, this is why the region is saying it stepped up this way. But we're going to jump in right there because you heard Dr. Sands and what he said, that it doesn't exclude the fact that the Bahamas must shore up and just ensure that our healthcare industry is what it needs to be. It must. It still doesn't exclude us from doing that. We must. We're going to get to another story in a minute talking about that, but let's just jump in right there and allow the Hot Topics panel, the Week in Review Fridays panelists, to jump in and give some perspective of this story that has not just made news in the Bahamas this week, but around the region. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Leslie Miller and Michael Turnquest are Beyond the Headlines contributors. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas.
Thank you both for being here this evening. Leslie, we saw you in that story a minute ago. Even on the show this week, you made your position quite clear. Michael, I want to hear from you, your thoughts on where the region finds itself, in betwixt and in between.
You know, Shanique, I mean, most of the Caribbean leaders, you know, the Prime Minister of Barbados, you hear, you know, this is something that took us throughout a crisis. This program in terms of the trade between, you know, this is what saved a lot of lives in the Caribbean and throughout a lot of our, you know, partners who we do a lot of business with. But I mean, if you look at during the pandemic, the U.S., of all people, they scrambled around, they doubled salaries to make it look inviting for people to come on board, because this is what they, at the end of the day, they themselves were, they had a burden.
Strapped, yeah.
They were strapped.
Yeah.
They had resources and they went out
So
and
many people died, eh?
they paid top dollar for nurses and for whatever help they could have gotten to bring people.
And they looked in this region first.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you know, I have family members who would have left, went to California, who worked and, you know, and made plenty money. You know, at the end of the day, we don't have the resources in terms of the cash flow.
Our budget cannot match it.
You cannot match it. So, you know, nations like ours, we have to do what we have to do in order to save our people. And I think our Caribbean leaders, including us, we did what we had to do in order to carry us through this trying time. But we still have gaps that we need to fill in our nation even today.
And that is why when you say trying time, this relationship has existed for decades.
Yes.
It didn't just happen
Over
during
70
COVID.
years.
During COVID, it's
Over
been
70
in
years.
place.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's a bullying tactic. You know, it's unfortunate.
All it is.
You know, and it puts us in a corner. But you know, at the end of the day, we have to stand our ground, because at the end of the day, we can't just walk away from such a great relationship, something that has been saving Bahamian lives, for decades upon decades. Because if we do that, then we start to see our obituary pages get.
We don't need, particularly with a nation, and we see the region is even more vulnerable, Leslie, to this non-communicable diseases, and that means lifestyle-related or brought-on issues, which the region is fatter, the region is not taking care of itself because of our diet, food security. So therefore, we do need this medical expertise. And so, Leslie, even in education, it's an issue.
This is so incredible what the United States do to small, vulnerable countries. They wouldn't dare say this to China or Russia, or any country could defend themselves. Remember what President Trump said before he became president? That was said. It was said in the United States of America. It went around the world.
That's a Christian show, Go ahead, Leslie.
Well, you say screw.
Shut up. You wash your mouth.
Whatever. But, listen, who gave them the right? The Cubans have been assisting countries in this region and around the world for over 70 years. 70 years plus. They are paid the same salary as our doctors and nurses in our country, as with every other country that they go to. They just happen to have a big accumulation of persons who are well-read and well-educated in the sciences. They want to be doctors. So there was such an abundance of them that President Castro, God bless him, who started the program, decided, let me help the country. Even in the Vietnam War, I was in high school, 1967. After the war, after the United States sprayed Agent Orange on every farm in Vietnam, that destroyed the country for about 20 years. You couldn't even grow your food. That was done intentionally. He sent a group of his scientists and everybody else there to help out. And it's only because of the hate that they have for black people of color under South and Central Americans that they can't come here.
Yeah.
This man don't own us. God made us just like him, man.
It's the hatred really.
Who the hell is
it's not
supposed
the
to be?
hatred. It's that embargo for Cuba that they want to see enforced.
Yes, but you realize if they had the opportunity, the relationship was any better than what it is today, we would have not been able, especially during COVID, to get one resource out of Cuba, because the U.S., let's say, be frank, they would have taken every single one available to them and make use of it. So,
I'll tell you this, Michael and Leslie, you all know this very much, and that's why people still applaud Trump, because Trump is doing everything for the benefit of the United States.
That's not necessarily so.
That is where he ran. That's what he ran on, and he said, "Listen, he's making life better for them."
He ran on the fact that he was going to lower the cost of living, which he hasn't done.
And that's what they're doing, and that is what they're doing. So therefore, Prime Minister Davis, we saw him this week as well.
You have to applaud him for that.
He said, "Listen, hold on,
got to be applauded.
Don't bully us. We're not involved in slave labor or human trafficking. What we are involved in is keeping this sovereign nation supplied sufficiently with the medical professionals it needs."
But I'll tell you, the most egregious thing happened yesterday, though. Dr. Sands came out in support of what the Prime Minister said, that we can't be dictated to, that this is a sovereign state. Did we hear from Leader of Opposition?
Who?
Leader of Opposition. He owed life and key, I guess. Listen to see what they got to say first. Write it for him, and then he can come and say, watch him by Monday.
Hold on, wait. So
the leader of opposition should have been in tandem with the Prime Minister to protect the interests of the Bahamas. Where was he?
Did we need to?
Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found.
If Dr. Sands, the chairman of the Free National Movement, and a noted doctor,
spoke,
so we needed to hear from the leader of the opposition.
Yes, he has an obligation.
This is on.
He wants to be the next leader of our country. We can look to him to lead us if he wins.
Michael,
and God help us, because life would keep it. They'll be running the damn country.
I don't know if we need, I'm pretty sure that Dr. Dwayne Sands is the shadow minister of health. I would assume that they would have had a conversation. Whereas I'm just thinking out loud in terms of they might have had a conversation behind the scenes and put Dr. Sands forward.
He got mad because of that damn lunch yesterday between the PM and Mr. Dr. Minister.
Hold on,
that's what he got mad for.
That's above my pay grade.
We will get to that. We will get to that in a minute. But gentlemen,
that's what he get mad for.
Staying on health, and as Dr. Sands says, needing to shore up our own industry so that we're not vulnerable when the U.S. makes a move like this or want to go and squeeze Cuba. The Ministry of Health has engaged beyond the headlines, has confirmed 35 nurses from Ghana. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yes, Ghana.
Ghanaian,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah,
good.
Ghana.
That's a nation in
African
Africa
country,
to be
yes.
employed.
Yeah.
Now, while they have yet to arrive in the Bahamas, we understand they have been already gone through the Public Service Commission. Just all of this is already done. Just really is waiting on the ticket. The Bahamas Nurses Union says the 26 Bahamian registered nurses still working in no man's land, meaning they have not been given their papers
But
for
they know they
official
can be paid, eh?
engagement. No, Leslie, you can hear in a minute. Needs to be hired officially. Here is Bahamas Nurses Union President Muriel Lightbourne on this show last night.
So tell me what is holding up our nurses? Shanique, I tell you no lie. When those 26 nurses came to me, one of the nurses said, Madam President, I know I need something done. She said, because I have been evicted twice out of a home. Evicted twice.
So that means that even their salaries aren't where they should be because they're not officially engaged at their new qualification and level. Oh, wow.
They on stipend.
On what?
And they're stipends, and then they're working and they're going out and they're doing the clinic. They function in the clinic as a registered nurse. They're going out and doing home visits out in the community and meeting people, doing nursing care out there in the community, not being paid because why? They can't be paid the mileage allowance because why? They're not
recognized.
Hired.
Yes.
But you're doing this work.
But you're doing the work.
And then they think it's good to say, oh, when your papers come through, then we gonna have the back pay you. But now the responsibility is on them to keep these dates as to when they being out to see Shanique. Because Shanique, come on, man. This ain't right. This our country. And the government is failing to realize that these nurses right here, they are the electorates. We're going into election season. These nurses have families.
Boy,
these nurses seeing how the government treat them.
So there you have it. Last night, Leslie and Michael, the Nurses Union president, saying, listen, and by the way, she doesn't object to the Ghanaian nurses. We know we need to make our healthcare system as foul-proof as it needs to be. She is saying, though, get the Bahamian nurses sorted out before you even bring them in. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Let me say this to Ms. Lightbourne. The Prime Minister has made it clear to the Minister of Health and the Minister of the Public Service that those nurses must be fully paid and fully entrenched in their jobs before the Ghanaians come to our country. That's going to happen within next week, within the next 10 days. Full, all of them. He wouldn't dare.
But you know, Mr. Miller, I think the issue is that why does it have to go to the point where someone has, you know, but that's the
no, but they've been in this position since 2023.
Yes, but the system needs to be fixed.
They've been in that position since 2023.
And we talk about efficiency and
you heard the woman say a nurse who basically even officially a nurse yet has been evicted. Listen, has been evicted twice. Has been evicted twice. So therefore, they do need they need this to be sorted out. Those Ghanaian nurses are coming and recognized as registered nurses, fully paid.
And we have registered nurses here.
Yeah, but we need them as well.
Yes.
But the point is, their living will be paid for, and listen, all of this will be done. So the Bahamian nurses are saying, listen, why are you scrapping around looking for an apartment if you're lucky to find it at $1,000? Come on.
Whatever remuneration they're getting, including their rent, our people should get the same damn amount. Don't bring no foreign in here and say, well, this one got to live for free, and then I don't get that benefit. You're supposed to get the same benefit because you're no different from me. My expertise is the same as yours, if not better.
But it's sad to hear that when we have local registered nurses who are working, it's supposed to be in the system, and they are being evicted from their homes.
Disgrace.
You know, that's a disgrace.
Total disgrace.
We got to stop being reactive when it is that somebody comes on a television show. The governments tend to get up or start to tell someone, hey, get up and do your job.
Do it.
We need to start penalizing those.
And you got to blame the Ministry of what the hell is the name on Main Street?
Health.
Yeah, not health. Both of them is in the same building.
Which
I don't know why they can't get it together. The Ministry of
Public Service.
Public Service.
Because she said
the same building with the Ministry of Health.
What the president said last evening is those nurses, the registered nurses already have their qualifications, everything, and working in the public health care clinics, but on stipend. She says that their documents have been before the commission since 2023.
But you know, Shanique, you know what they're gonna do? You know what they're gonna do? I bet you next week they're gonna go through those documents again and come back and say, but you know, this one is expired. And tell them, say, go back and get this document. Man, that's not, and this is what goes, and basically people get frustrated and start lashing out.
The Public Service Commission must do better, or get a new Public Service Commission. That's easy to do.
As simple as that. Stop dragging your feet.
Get a new crew, that's all.
It's not
things like nurses, they should be priority.
Should be priority.
Teachers, nurses,
send them
these should
home,
be priority.
Gentlemen, I want to quickly move
Can't do
forward
your job, go
because
home.
Justin is informing me that, listen, Shanique, hello, hi, wrap up because the segment is sort of nearing its allotted time. We see that Dame Janet Bostwick, the FNM too has been in the news quite a bit this week, and getting ready to launch its candidates and for the upcoming general election. But Dame Janet Bostwick is saying the FNM must unite and get a number of things in place with a message, something the Bahamian people could bite into and sort of believe in and get on board with. We also see this comment coming on the backdrop of Prime Ministers Ingram and Minnis having lunch this week. Gentlemen, your thoughts about the message it sent, the fact that it got everyone talking all over the country, and people are saying, okay, what does that mean? What is that about?
You know, Shanique, I have to agree with the Dame Janet Bostwick. You know, everywhere I go, people ask, you know, what is the FNM doing? You know, are they serious? You know, they talking about, you know, when you talk about rolling out of candidates, when you're talking about unification of the party, you know, it just seems as though it's still not there. There still seems to be a divide within the party.
Great divide.
And it's just, and you're coming up on a 2026, or who knows, election might be sooner. But, you know, she has a point. You know, there needs to be, I don't know if the meeting between two past prime ministers, if that was a meeting of the minds to come together in terms of how do we bring everyone together. You know, you thought the last convention that the FNM came out of, that, you know, that would have been unified and the way into the next general election. But it's clearly there's still something going on that, you know, I guess myself and the public just don't know.
It's really because of the disrespect that was shown to Dr. Minnis by the current leader. I mean, how you can tell the man he can't even speak at a branch meeting? Think of that. That's what he told him. You cannot speak at a damn branch meeting. A former MP and a former prime minister cannot speak at a branch meeting.
No, a present MP. You see what he did last week?
What the hell is this?
He had Dame Marguerite Pendling honoring the women of the nation and Kalani.
Yeah, but you hear so many different sides of the story. You know, you hear one time in the news, well, you know, the olive branch was extended. Then you came back and you hear Dr. Minnis said, or the former prime minister said, no, it wasn't. You know, it's so much back and forth. Sometimes people just don't know what to think, what to believe. But it's definitely there seems to be a divide, and something needs, you know, if they want to be.
It's not a good look, and people are talking about it. Even Dame Janet says, "Listen, you all got to unite," because people could see the fact that you all are naked under the little robe that you have on. People could see that there's nothing under there.
Most FNMs are saying that they need someone to lead them into the next election.
Oh, they're saying
and the current leader is not the one they're looking at. Cartwright.
Who?
If you notice, Cartwright didn't speak on the budget debate. You know. They sidelined Cartwright on the budget debate. You know. This is definitely leader that was not able to speak on the budget debate.
So what's going on? They're looking at Shannon Don Cartwright.
Ask the leader. Of course they're looking at him. Tommy Turn question them.
They're looking at Shannon Don Cartwright to make him leader?
Every meeting they have. The leader is absent until Turn is there. On Cartwright them. You figure it out.
You mean Tommy Turn?
Yeah.
Because no,
him and his crew.
I wasn't there. Just
figure it out. Figure it out.
This is interesting,
yes.
Y'all. This is interesting. Shannon Don Cartwright is being looked at as a potential leader to step up and be the.
More people can appreciate him than those who appreciate the current leader. He's an affable guy, easygoing. Okay? This guy is so rough, and I'm scared as hell of him, and he's my cousin.
What make you scared? Let's
That's your cousin?
There's some, yes, from Ragged Island. His mother's Lockhart, my mom's Lockhart.
Oh, y'all close.
Listen to me. Listen, we didn't get to much of what we wanted to. We did, because I'll tell you, the people of Mayaguana, you know, from time to time I've been talking with them and showing what's going on. The airport is under construction, but yesterday, the Prime Minister led a delegation there, and what they did, they went to visit one thing, but ended up doing several things. We'll talk about that next week, but I do it for them, for the people of Mayaguana who continues to inform the show and are very happy to see a lot going on and a lot now taking place on the island. So I'll share their good news with you next week. Meanwhile, though, Leslie Miller. Leslie, where's my birthday present? Do Leslie?
Your birthday again?
But Michael's request? Thank you.
I was going to John Bull tomorrow.
I don't want to hear it.
I just felt like I bought you a birthday present back in the
My surprise for you all is right after the break.
For over half a century, we've been more than just an airline. We've been a bridge, connecting families, dreams, and memories across the islands and beyond. Behind every seat sold and every journey planned, there's a dedicated team committed to making air travel affordable and accessible to everyone. At Bahamas Air, we're not just building connections, we're building a safe and dependable airline where quality service is paramount and an excellent travel experience is our priority. Wherever you're going, we're here to take you there with care, with heart, and with the promise of unforgettable journeys. We are family, and just like family, we're committed to taking care of our own. Your Bahamas Air is our Bahamas Air, because here at Bahamas Air, we don't just fly here, we live here.
Who are the boss for dancer?
International events and production. Alive, Bahamas Air, Everybody Wins Live, and Field of Vibes Bahamas Weekend presents
the Evolution Concert on Saturday, March 29th at Clifford Park, featuring Vibes Cartel and Friends.
Bahamas, Nassau, where it's Saturday the 29th of March.
It's one of the biggest events to hit the shores of Nassau, Bahamas.
Get ready for Adi the Teacher, the Dancehall King, aka the World Boss, Vibes Cartel.
Real bad man, no Magdalena shot.
Log into our official airline Bahamas Air for travel specials. It gets better. We're also giving away a brand new Cybertruck.
And up to $50,000 in cash and prizes at the concert. Compliments of Everybody Wins Live.
Log into our website, feelthevibesweekend.com.
For tickets, tables, skyboxes, and more info.
Visit Ticket Flair or email intlevents242@gmail.com.
WhatsApp or call 1242-808-2369.
I remember Cartel I did it.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation? You mean the Ministry of Tourism? No, that ain't the same thing, buddy. The Tourism Development Corporation helps develop and grow behemoth businesses in the tourism industry. You hear what they say, buddy? Oh, yeah. Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things saying do? What does do? Wait, check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
What if I told you Wendy's has a new burger? With a flavor so secret, it's almost too delicious to handle. Well, now it's time to unlock that flavor. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger. We can't tell you everything, but we can tell you that it's packed with flavor, including our secret barbecue sauce. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger today. Available for a limited time.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, we're going to shift gears after talking about some news and all the stories making headlines. We're going to shift gears because, you know, it's the weekend and you want to be a bit more relaxed. So pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee or whatever else, and let's have a good time. You remember some weeks ago that Prophetess Prophetess Smith was on the show, and many of you said, oh my God, she has to come back and teach a class. We will hear more from her because what she said, and I wish we had Justin, I really wish we had the clip to let people know, but I'll remind them. She said on the show that she, in 35 years of marriage, she has always each and every time in 35 years. Leslie, I don't know why you stop right there. She has always had an orgasm. That's right. She said, that's what she said. So, go back. Let me go there. Go out. So she said, this is what she said, and I'll tell you this, it went viral times 100. And so people are saying, man, hold up, man, prophetess, you doggone as a happy woman. And then who's your husband? Well, we're gonna just bring that for you this evening. So welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Prophetess Prophetess Smith. Listen, first of all, good evening to you. I imagine you got. I want to know what the response was to you.
Oh my goodness, it was crazy. It has been crazy. I to be honest with you, I kind of Leslie have me laughing.
You're crying even.
Yeah, you got me crying and all. Leslie said, well, I don't know how that could happen, say, because he hasn't had one in that amount of time.
I understand that, because normally a man, anyways, yes.
Oh, my goodness. Of course, I doubt that. But the response has really been overwhelming, Shanique. It really has been.
And positive.
It really has been. Definitely positive.
Yeah.
Definitely positive and far-reaching, not just in the Bahamas.
You're kidding?
Oh yes, of course. Matter of fact, somebody sent me a clipping where a pastor somewhere in the Caribbean was talking about it.
You are kidding.
But,
you were the subject of a sermon.
Absolutely.
No, but I'll tell you why.
Absolutely.
That's a male pastor, right? Let me tell you why men, and I can let you take over now.
Yeah.
But men love that, especially married men and married men in church. You know why? Because many times their Christian wives forget that she's a woman.
Absolutely.
Now take it away, ma'am.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Good to be here again. Listen, I am so serious when I said what I said. I will not retract it for the world because it is truth. Another person I was told said, tell that woman stop lying.
No. Men, I'll tell you, one that was overwhelmingly positive and like, oh my God.
Yes.
The prophetess got to come talk to the rest of us.
Yes.
So one or two people say, man, hold on, now she knows she lying.
Yeah, no.
Which woman every time? Which?
Every time. Look at Leslie. Leslie came back in through the door. No, seriously. I mean, it may sound funny, and it may seem as if I'm being facetious,
sit down and take notes.
But most certainly, yes. Come on and sit down and take notes, Leslie. You're gonna learn something tonight. Have a seat. And so, Shanique, and I'll look back and forth.
Yes,
just look at you. You getting all excited while I'm talking.
I am excited.
Yes. But literally, in 35 years, I'm gonna reiterate it because it's the truth. In 35 years, I have never had a sexual encounter with my husband without experiencing an orgasm. Never, ever. And so even if it means, Shanique, that after the first time is over and I'm not satisfied, then he got to get back on.
Hold on.
I got to sing the song, Let's Get It On, baby. You got to find another way because I got to be satisfied tonight or today because sometimes day, afternoon, night, in the bed, in the bathtub, on the table, it doesn't matter. But it Leslie out there coughing, y'all. Leslie coughing, bent over coughing by the door. Y'all send an ambulance here to Eyewitness News. But no, seriously, I am so serious about my sexual encounters and experience with my husband in marriage that I am not afraid to talk about it.
No, but I like that.
I will talk about it. Why are you looking at me in amazement?
I don't know why Michael. I don't know what's going on.
Michael is looking at me like...
Michael and Leslie should learn something because obviously her husband is doing something in 35
Yeah,
years.
Y'all sit under my husband's tutelage.
That he knows how to please a woman.
Absolutely.
And that woman is his wife.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So listen, let me tell you, this is important though, because when I had a show called The Conversation with Shanique Miller, of course, this was a regular kind of topic.
Right.
But because it was the response was so overwhelming and in many different quarters. I mean, not just the church or young people or more mature people, it was everyone, including men, who were interested and intrigued and want to know more. So I decided, on a Friday evening, hey, it's the weekend, it's Friday evening.
Why not?
Let's come and relax, unwind, and have this conversation. What is it, and let's stay with women then.
Yes.
What is it that you as a woman, with just saying just enough, what is it that you as a woman and a wife do maybe mindset, preparing yourself to ensure that you bring that level of enjoyment to your sexual experiences with your husband?
Shanique, let me just start out by saying, and I'm gonna just quote the scripture here, and I probably won't go back to it, but I'll quote it for now. Hebrews chapter 13, because I realize some of my audience are not necessarily saved or church people. So Hebrews, I don't want to be offensive per se, not that the Bible should be offensive, but I still need to mention it. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4, it says, marriage is honorable in all. In other words, in all things. And the bed is undefiled. Jesus spent a lot of his ministry, to be very honest with you, Jesus spent a lot of his ministry talking about three things, whether directly or indirectly. He spoke about the kingdom. He spoke about money. He spoke about marriage.
He did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Matter of fact, when the Pharisees came to him and tried to trap him, Matthew chapter 18 and 19, and there was a whole discourse about marriage. Because remember now, marriage was set as a precedent from the very beginning. Remember now in Genesis, of course, where and that was when all of creation was finished. We realized that man and woman, Adam, was created on the sixth day. That's why the number 6 is the number of man. And so on the sixth day, the creation took place as far as creating man and woman. And then on the seventh day, Genesis, the writer of Genesis, went back to reiterate about what happened. And hence, that's where we have, and I want to give you the scripture so you can write it down. Hence, this is where we have now in Genesis chapter 2 and chapter 3. In particular, Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. It says, and the optics here is that, of course, Adam, both male and female, Adam was created in one. And then, of course, Adam, the man, was put to sleep, and out of him was taken Eve, of course, the woman, or the man with a womb, the wombed man. And so, therefore, when God brought Eve, or the woman, because Adam named her, when God brought the woman to Adam, God did not name Eve, Adam did. And so when God, that's a whole other conversation.
Yes, yes.
When God brought Eve to Adam, Adam said, this is now what? Bone of my bone. This is now flesh of my flesh, right? She shall be called. And then, of course, God says, it says, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and become one. The word used there is cleave, the old English word. Cleave to one another, and the two shall become one flesh. That tells you that God is serious about marriage. Now, even though I'm talking about the sexual encounter, I'm really talking about it in the confines of marriage.
Yes.
I'm not talking about anything outside of marriage, because we know outside of marriage is adultery and fornication. We ain't talking about that. So I ain't talking to little boo-boo and her little boyfriend. You know what I'm taking? I'm not talking to Shanae them and her little pimp. I ain't talking to none of y'all. I'm talking about the saved, or talking to those who are saved and those who are unsaved, but in the confines of marriage. So God said in that confine is where the bed is undefiled. Now I don't want to take it too far where I go through boundaries and perimeters. So let's set a boundary here. The Bible tells us those things are an abomination to God. And so therefore, even though the bed is undefiled, there are some things you cannot do in the marriage bed. In other words, sodomy is not permitted in the marriage bed. No man should be entering his wife from the anus in the marriage bed. That's an abomination. And so therefore, there's some people that have what we call kinky sex, They tie up one another and they beat one another with certain belts and all that other stuff, and they inflict pain. That is not permitted in the marriage bed. You are defiling the marriage bed.
So bondage and all that stuff and what you mentioned, because some people like the kinky sex.
Yeah, they like it.
And then some women feel they have to do that because it's a trending thing, or some husbands request it because it's a trending thing.
No.
And hey, listen, let me sleep with you. Let me experience, a sexual encounter with you this way or that way. You're saying it's to a point, though.
It is to a point, because you got to understand, anytime you introduce anything in the marriage that inflicts pain or discomfort, that you're opening up the doors to spirits. And I don't want to go overboard there, but whenever you introduce anything in the marriage that causes pain or discomfort, you've opened the door to another entity that is demonic in nature. And so therefore, when God is talking about the marriage bed being undefiled, he's talking about in the confines of his word. So we know that sodomy is not just spiritually illegal. We know that it's a sin. We know that you can't introduce a third party in the marriage bed. You can't have a threesome or threesome, whatever you want to call it. Whether you're saved or not, you cannot do that in the marriage covenant. Matter of fact, the minute you introduce, and that's why this sweethearting culture has to be spoken against in this country, because it's dangerous. The minute you introduce another person or entity in that marriage, you no longer have a marriage. The covenant has been broken. Because God didn't say you, and he didn't say Adam, Eve, and me. He said the two of you. So even God extricated himself from that marriage covenant, which means the marriage covenant is between two persons and two persons alone. And let me go further. It says a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. So therefore, a marriage is not between two men. A marriage is not between two women, because those are an abomination, as we know, according to Leviticus, I think it is. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 22. Any man that lies with another man, and man here means the human. Any man that lies with another man, whether that's two men, two women, outside of the boundaries of God's marriage.
We know that.
We know that's illegal. Yes,
know,
absolutely.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows it, but you'd be surprised how many people are participating in it.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm happy you spoke that
Yes.
and said that tonight, but we've discussed that many times. When we come back, because I'm just hearing now the indication for a break. When we come back, Prophetess Patrice Smith.
Go intricately
and intimately about, and within reason, about how women, especially women, because what's caused you to be a beautiful sexual being and wife to your husband over the last 34 years. That's what we want to hear when we come back.
35.
This is 35, pardon me, 35. I don't want to rob you of no year. 35 years. Stay close.
Need a new car for your business? Well, EV Motors and the Bahamas Development Bank have some news for you.
At the Bahamas Development Bank, we are committed to promoting Bahamian businesses and entrepreneurs. With our green lending program, businesses are able to access up to 100% financing to purchase electric vehicles for commercial and fleet use. We are so excited to partner with EV Motors for this initiative to encourage and empower business owners to drive green.
If you haven't visited our dealership on Tonic Williams Starling Highway as yet, we have a wide variety of brand new EVs from some of your favorite brands like Toyota, BYD, and Mercedes-Benz. As the official distributor of Kerry commercial vehicles, we offer a selection of high-performance commercial EVs. Currently, you can purchase the Kerry Cargo Van and the Kerry Elephant Truck, and soon flatbeds and box trucks for all your business needs.
To access up to 100% financing to purchase an EV for your business, you will need to provide us with a few documents: the business plan or executive summary, business license, historical financials, relevant KYC documents, and the vehicle and insurance quote.
With an interest rate of 6.75% and a repayment period of up to 8 years, you don't want to miss this fantastic opportunity.
To apply, visit our website today at bahamasdevelopmentbank.com or give us a call at 702-5700.
Island Luck Sportsbook is taking you to the NBA playoffs. That's right. Every $20 bet placed between February 24th and April 1st earns you an entry to win an all-expense-paid trip to an NBA playoff game. Imagine being in the stands, feeling the energy, and watching your favorite team battle for a championship. The more you bet, the more chances you have to win. So don't miss out. Place your bets now at Island Luck Sportsbook and get ready for the experience of a lifetime. Weekly drawings every Tuesday at 3 p.m. starting March 4th. Visit islandluck.com/sports for more details. Who's ready to fly off to the NBA playoffs?
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience, with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. I know this Friday y'all are saying, what? But hey, listen, it's the weekend. Let's relax, let's unwind, because you know, after the show, not yet, after the show, then you go and you all make things happen, right? Yeah. My special guest in this segment, the last segment in this one, is Prophetess Smith, who is talking about, who is bringing the receipts for how in 35 years, her marriage has been nothing but pure pleasure, where it matters. So listen, let's continue. Let's jump in because I know this is a quick segment.
Yes. And Shanique, I don't want persons who are watching me to think that everything has been perfect and everything has been hunky-dory, because that's not so. Remember, marriage is a covenant, but marriage is also a working relationship. Yeah. You got to work towards making your marriage better. There were times in my 35 years I wanted to leave my husband. There were times in my 35 years I said, now listen, buddy, like I said to y'all, I am not satisfied. Now ladies, there's point number one.
Absolutely. Take notes.
Yes.
You went, because you know they say, Jesus, how you tell that to the man?
No.
You told your husband.
Oh yes.
This isn't working for me.
This ain't cutting it, buddy. This ain't cutting it. And you're not gonna, because the sexual experience is not just for you to enjoy. Mm-hmm. Because remember now, the two are becoming one. So both of us must be satisfied. See, that's the problem. Women have gotten to the point where they have just compromised and allowed, because of two main reasons. They don't want to embarrass their husband, they think, or hurt his feelings. And then they don't want their husband to walk out on them. So they accept whatever. No, my dear, no. You have to get to that point where you're able to communicate. Communication is a very strong mechanism for healthy marriage.
It seems to me it's communication that makes the sex life between a man and his wife.
Absolutely.
Really that magic, that magical thing.
Yes, Shanique, when you were to, and I know you're going to get married, when you get married, don't be afraid to tell your husband, baby, I wasn't satisfied. Baby, I wasn't pleased with that. Honey, I know that you were satisfied, and listen, baby, you did a good job, but I just need to be taken further. It's nothing wrong with that. We've gotten to the point where during our sexual experience, and I'm being very open and vulnerable, of course, during our sexual experience, and I'm going to use a word because everybody understands what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say ejaculation. I'm going to use the real word. When my husband would have come, if I can use that term, and I'm still, okay.
Looking at the cracks in the ceiling.
Yeah, what's happening here? Mm-hmm. You know? And so we have gotten to the point, my husband and I in our marriage, where he would say to me, what do you want me to do? Husbands, don't get to that point. Don't get to that point where you believe that you are so macho and that you are such a man and that this woman is there to satisfy you alone. No, nobody. The two of you are in that marriage together. Put your ego aside. Put your whatever else aside. Sometimes it's even ignorance and stupidity. Put all of that aside and say, honey, what do you want me to do? And of course, whatever she says, because a woman knows what satisfies her.
What's going to make her,
lesbianism is so strong?
What's going to make her feel good?
Oh, yeah. They usually say if a man take your woman, you might could get her back. If a woman take your woman, that's a whole different story.
Because she knows how to please.
Because a woman knows how to satisfy another woman.
So I want to ask you this then. Is it okay? And don't listen. It's still 8 o'clock-ish.
Yes.
So let's just speak. Is it okay then for a couple, a married couple, to introduce things that'll aid the experience?
Of course. You know, one of the greatest things I purchased the other day from who? Ian, right? Mm-hmm. I purchased the rose from Ian the other day.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. You mentioned, Lord, wait a minute, hold on. Urka, don't look at me. Don't. It's nice. Okay?
I'm not advertising, but you probably can give that Ian's number.
No, Ian. I can tell you this. Ian, come do it. Come bring me the commission.
Yes, absolutely.
You purchased the rose. So you were saying that to say there's no shame in that in your marriage.
Nothing. If you have to introduce some sex toys to assist and to heighten your level of ecstasy and enjoyment. Now, there's nothing. Now, again, I say, you're not bothering with the back, because anything with the back is sodomy. But there are times, I will be raw right now because I'm talking to married women. There are times when my husband uses his tongue, he uses his fingers, he uses different parts of his body, and all of that brings me to a state of arousal and satisfaction. Nothing is wrong with that in marriage. And Christian women, a lot of you are sitting up in churches, you're all dressed right down, looking good, and you're all miserable because you've never been satisfied, not one day in your life. You are so stuck in the missionary position. That's why your husband is out with other women. And I dare say, many of these men who are preaching in the pulpit, you know that you are sleeping with other women because your wife is not satisfying you. And if she would be honest, she'll tell you you ain't satisfying her.
That part.
And so therefore, we got to be honest.
No, you must.
We got to get to the point, especially in the church, where we become honest.
Yes.
And you know, sex is becoming a taboo. And I told the Lord,
it shouldn't be.
I told the Lord, I said, I am a sanctified, holy, accurate prophet, but I am a satisfied woman sexually.
Right.
And so we got to understand women. We have to understand men are attracted by three things. Never overlook this in a marriage. Men are attracted by scent. They are attracted because remember, we are part of the animal kingdom. Men are, that's why when I go to Africa, we wonder, well, how come some of the Africans, their scent so high? Sometimes in some cultures, that's what attracts the men. So men are attracted by scent. They are attracted by sight. They are attracted by sound. They are part of the animal kingdom. What do you mean, prophetess? Okay, so you know that your husband likes a particular scent. Let me start to the bottom and then go up. You know that your husband have a problem with you having a high sweat. Then go to the doctor and find something that can help you, my God, with your sweat glands to bring that down, you know, because that can be irritating to a man. You know, he comes home from work, working among women, working among beautiful women, nice smelling women, women that look good, and he coming home to you, your mouth stink, your arms stink, your legs stink. What you expect supposed to happen?
Look right
you
here.
expect that man to stay in the house with you?
Look right
no,
here.
No,
Look right
wait,
here
where you want me to look?
Right here and talk, right there.
Right here. Women, Bahamian women, listen, married women, make yourself the best looking woman that your husband has ever seen. Listen, I tell my husband all the time, ain't nobody can swing like from the chandeliers for you like me, honey.
You would swing from the chandeliers too?
Oh my goodness, man, please, man. I get to the point, one time early in my marriage, I had my husband lay on the bed, honey. I put a red ribbon around me. I put my leg on one side and one other side, and I say, baby, how you want it? And so we this is a little too much for you, Shani.
I think so. Listen,
yeah, okay.
I ain't talk about this kind of stuff in years, because you all know the conversation was this kind of topic.
Absolutely. So they're attracted by scent, and they're attracted by sight. So make yourself look good.
That's it.
Fix up your face, fix up your hair, fix up your body. I just finished saying, I got to start losing weight because my husband is getting older. And so, you know, as you get older, sometimes the attraction tend to wane. So you got to do some things to beef it back up. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't no woman supposed to be 55, 60, 65 talking about no more sex. What you mean by that? Are you crazy? You know what time, I'm sorry, how old Sarah was when she had Isaac?
97.
My goodness. And listen here, we got to understand that nothing is wrong with our husband being attracted to us by sight to how we look. There's nothing wrong with that. He's attracted by sound. So even your voice, Holy Spirit's been dealing with me. Even how I speak to my husband.
Softer.
He's been dealing with me.
Feminine.
Bring your tone down. Yes. Yes, because men are attracted by sight,
a lot of black
and
wives are so
absolutely,
angry and just it's nothing attractive and appealing.
No.
You know,
because really and truly, a lot of them have a Jezebel spirit, but that's a whole other conversation there. And so Shanique, it's nothing wrong with enhancing the sexual experience. Whatever you need to do, listen, my husband and I enjoy oral sex. Now, if you don't enjoy oral sex, ain't nothing wrong with it. You see, but you find what works best for you. I always tell my husband, honey, you gotta go downtown. Uptown, you better come downtown. You gotta do the two. And so, yes, and there's nothing wrong with it. I used to joke around one time with my husband, and I used to say, okay, baby, I said I could put some whipped cream on my toes so you can lick my toes. He said, oh, no, that could be the end of the marriage right there. He ain't going down to the toes. So, but I was just making a joke. Yeah. But you have to make things exciting. If you have to use sexual toys to make it exciting, get that rose. That rose is powerful, honey.
Listen, you have to come back because Lord, I tell you, I don't know
do
if the people,
what you need to do to keep the marriage
the people,
fun.
I don't know if they used to be talking about like this anymore because that was years ago when I used to have the conversation. And let me tell you, married men in particular loved it and appreciated it.
Absolutely.
Many marriages improved as a result of those discussions on the conversation as well. So we brought a little bit here, especially after that viral video. I just wanted to give you all a nice little sort of like, hey, it's the weekend, have fun. The prophetess agreed because she wants, in fact, she does these kinds of teachings.
I do them.
With married couples.
So if pastors want
and
to
as
call
you can hear,
in,
it ain't boring. She doggone be going in. I hear you, Justin. I hear you.
I go deeper when I come to churches. And my podcast that's coming out, one of my topics is going to be help. This is the name of the podcast. Help. I am not being satisfied in my marriage experience.
My God.
And so we're going to be dealing just with women on that particular aspect of the podcast.
Very important, ladies. You all know very,
Yes.
that is very important to be satisfied and to satisfy your husband as well.
And for those who
to
believe...
look appealing and open. I have to go.
For those who believe that... No, listen. For those who believe that it's not possible, call me.
That's it. Orgasm. Anyway, Listen, thank you. Listen, you were. Whoa. Listen, Urka, I don't want to hear you all. Don't leave me alone.
Get the rose. Tell them get the rose.
Get the rose.
The rose is
thank you very much, Prophetess Patrice Smith. The people love it. The people wanted to hear more. You all heard more. Let me know if you all want a part 3 to this. I tell you a part 3, but thank you very much. And also, thank you very much for hanging out all week long. Yes. Thank you. I just gave you that gift because you hang out every night with me, so I appreciate that. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a blessed weekend, everyone.